Do you always seem to be missing the joke? Is it a joke? Is it sarcasm? Is it a test? Is it an insult? Is it a trap? Hard to tell. Most people hear and understand tone instantly. Neurodiverse brains decode it eventually. Why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? I never understood what could be so funny about that. To get to the other side means like he crosses the road to get hit by a car and get to the other side. I am 37 years old and I just finally figured it out. And the worst, you guys, the worst is when you think someone's joking and you laugh and it's actually really serious. Maybe their tone seems like they're so serious that they're unserious, but I think that they're joking because they must have a dark sense of humor a little bit like me. And so I giggle, and then, the expression on their face lets me know that perhaps I have misinterpreted this situation. There's a real reason that folks who are ADHD and on the spectrum struggle to understand sarcasm and jokes, and it has nothing to do with intelligence. So if you constantly find yourself thinking, wait, was that a joke? This video is for you. I was about today years old, maybe not today, but a few months ago, in the year of our Lord, 2025, old, when I found out the true meaning of the old chicken that crossed the road joke. Why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? I never understood what could be so funny about that. Until recently, I learned out on the good old tiki-taki that to get to the other side means like he crosses the road to get hit by a car and get to the other side. I am 37 years old and I just finally figured it out. And it turns out I'm not alone. Like, there's a lot of other people who are all in real time finding out that they're quite a bit neurospicy. And this is like something that they've struggled with their whole life. Not understanding metaphors. I'm actually pretty good with metaphors, but really not understanding when someone's joking and when someone's not, in particular for me, understanding their sarcasm. People who are really good at being sarcastic, especially. And those people are like the funniest people in your life, but you're often missing the joke because you're sitting there arguing with them thinking that they meant what they said and they were totally joking. And the worst, you guys, the worst is when you think someone's joking and you laugh and it's actually really serious. And I kind of have a dark sense of humor. So this happens to me a lot. I have been very embarrassed at networking events, especially, you're talking and someone, maybe their tone seems like they're so serious that they're unserious, if that makes sense. That like they're talking about something serious, but I think that they're joking because they must have a dark sense of humor a little bit like me. And so I giggle, and then, the expression on their face lets me know that perhaps I have misinterpreted this situation. And man, it's awkward. It's embarrassing. It's you feel bad because you don't want to hurt others, but at the same time, you've also been very hurt by this particular aspect of yourself. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. You just don't understand subtext and the way that most people use tone exactly the same. And in the moment when you're already stressed out because social interactions for folks like us can be a little difficult to begin with. You're overstimulated. You're distracted by noises and stuff around you, and you're trying to be part of the crew, right? You're trying to interact. You're trying to mingle. You're trying to put your best foot forward and really put some effort in and socialize. And I know that to neurotypical people, they might seem like, why does that sound like such a chore to you? Well, it is for most of us, unfortunately. Social interactions are hard, and joking and understanding others' jokes can be even harder. And then like the ADHD thing that happens sometimes is I a little bit spaced out when the person was talking, and it turns out that they might have brought something up a little bit serious, and you know, they finish what they're saying, and I giggle and go, "Yeah," and then I get the awkward stare, and I'm like, "Oh, I've done it again. Here I am in this position again." And it's not that you don't have a sense of and it's not that neurodiverse people don't have a sense of humor. We very much do, and our sense of humor is often in line with our gift. We can riff on certain things really well, but when it comes to like everyday like written jokes, we struggle with stuff like that. We can also be unintentionally funny when we get really rigid about something and we get kind of serious for a minute. I think a lot of people think that we're joking when we are not. Not understanding why I'm upset about something that seems insignificant, but for me, I'm way too overstimulated, or something about it is just overwhelming me. For me to understand sarcasm from others, it has to be over the top. It has to be like so very plainly sarcastic that like their facial expressions just really give it away. But again, if somebody's like really good at the stone face, just acting really serious about something that they are unserious about, folks like you and I, we're going to struggle. And why does that happen? Social communication differences in the neurodiverse crowd include processing non-literal language differently. Autistic individuals in particular tend to process information very literally, like what is black and white written in the text? What is this person word for word saying to me? We tend to take people at their word, which, by the way, all jokes aside, in this video, that can actually become very painful for people who are autistic, because when you take people at their word, this of course has nothing to do with jokes, but sometimes people don't mean what they say in a kind of hurtful or neglectful way. As a friend, as a family member, as somebody in your life, falling short on promises they make you and things like that. Like when folks who are neurodiverse, when they promise you something, they genuinely usually mean it, and they usually will, like, I said I was going to be there on Tuesday. I'm showing up on Tuesday to help you. Here I am. Like, that's kind of the way we are and we process. So it can cause such a disconnect between the world you think you live in, where things are what they seem to be, and the world that is reality, where sometimes that's not the case. That disconnect can be hard for us. And that really requires some adaptation on our part, and some understanding, and some self-awareness when you're out there in the world, really working on awareness and trying to learn subtle signs of the way others communicate. Can really be helpful in helping you gain a little more discernment out there in the world. Anyways, back to jokes. So when we take things really literally, we often, that requires quickly reading tone, facial expressions, and context of like the whole conversation, right? This can obviously lead to confusion. Delayed reactions is a big one. Processing, it's like almost like a 3-second window where, for a lot of people, it seems, where the joke is being told, and all of a sudden, a few seconds, 30 seconds later, whenever, you are like, oh, like you process it all. Because you have to evaluate all of those things individually. You're not just perceiving them all at once like most people. And sometimes you need clarification, right? You ask them, are you being serious? And again, it's not that you lack intelligence or humor. It's that you have a neurological processing style that wants like direct, explicit communication. And outside of that, you struggle a little bit. Clear, concrete language helps folks like us feel more comfortable, more grounded, and a little more confident in social situations. But that's not the world we live in, right? So, so what happens when we're often encountering input that we need more time to interpret, and we get into these situations, in social situations, when people are having fun, they're chopping it up, but maybe we feel like we're falling behind, and of course that can make you feel left out, right? Feeling the last to know everything, you're like the last one to laugh, the last one to get it, or you don't get it at all, and you just kind of feel stuck twiddling your thumbs there. You misinterpret commentary. You might misinterpret the meaning of something one way or another and end up maybe hurting someone else's feelings, like I certainly have in the past. It certainly doesn't make you want to engage socially all the time, because you often leave feeling maybe misunderstood, maybe left out, and just having thoughts of self doubt about, your ability to function socially, or thinking that you just don't know how to fit in or you're not funny. Hey there, what's up? My name's Ashley. I'm a life coach, and I help people going through burnout, big life changes, and spiritual awakenings. And I also help neurodiverse folks like me find their flow, find a better way to function, whether that's career related or lifestyle related, and live a life better aligned with who they are and how they function. If you like this video and more relatable content about being a neurospicy individual, like this video and subscribe to the channel. I tend to put videos out like this every week. So how can you find ways to improve without trying to change who you are, or try to make up all these jokes to try to fit in, or try to study common jokes I mean, you can do that if it makes you feel more comfortable, but don't act like you're studying the Jeopardy book for holiday party jokes or something. But here's something you can do. Try to work on when you walk into a scene, whether it's a holiday work party or a family function or a friends gathering of sorts. Just scan the room. Just try to read the room for a minute before you even really engage with anybody. Does this seem like a really jovial type party, or is it kind of a little more business, a little more, grandma's here. We can't make jingle ball jokes that clearly aren't about jingle balls or whatever. Just read the room and understand just from the context cues of the way people are interacting. Do you hear people talking about kind of more serious topics, or are they kind of being kind of funny and light? Try and perceive that first, and then let that help you get a sense of the tone of where you are. And then you might have a situation where somebody's maybe doesn't know you. They don't know that you struggle with this sort of thing, Can't blame them for that. People just don't know what they don't know. Maybe ask them, just say, hey, are you being serious? It's okay. It's okay to ask, there's nothing wrong with that. If it'll make you feel less anxious going into a social situation, pick some common sarcastic phrases and just practice a little decoding. Maybe you can develop your own little internal sarcasm bank, that just phrases that you remember are, oh, people are usually being sarcastic when they say things like this, Having something to recall a little bit of memory on things like this can help you survive those holiday work parties that you are half appreciative you were invited and do want to go and interact with others, and then the other half of you wants to scream and run. It's a little bit of a struggle for all the above listed reasons. So do yourself a favor. If this is something that you struggle with, just familiarize yourself with some common ones that you hear that you struggle with, and then realize later where that you weren't quite getting it in the moment. And be kind to yourself. While it's great to do a few things to try to help you improve, this may always be something that you struggle with to some degree, and self-acceptance is a very important part of being neurodiverse. You can always look for ways to improve, ways to gain self-awareness. Accept yourself. Don't try to pretend to be someone that you're not. And that goes for everyone listening to this, whether you're neurodiverse or not. Just in general, if you don't find something humorous, you don't have to tell jokes like that. The people who find you funny are your people. The people who don't find you funny, that's okay. Maybe you don't find them funny. Oh well. I have a client who, neurodiverse, struggles with sarcasm and understanding people, and he had a friend who was really sarcastic, and she was really good at doing the deadpan when she was being sarcastic. One day he had to be with her on a trip, and she kind of said something to him that was offbeat, and he was like, she must be joking. Turns out she was not joking, and she was having a real mental health crisis, and it took him a while to figure it out, but for a while he just thought, he's this is the weirdest does she think she's being funny? Like, why, why is she being like this? And turns out, like, she was really acting up, like she was having some kind of difficulty, and it took him like hours to figure it out. And then when he figured it out, he's like, "Oh my god, what do I do? I need to like escape the situation for my own safety. A, B, like, you know, figure a whole bunch of logistics out now because this was not supposed to be the way that like this trip went down, and just handle business, right? Um, it's funny and ridiculous, some of like the situations that you can get yourself in when you miss these cues, right? Whether they be like sometimes a bummer, sometimes funny, sometimes like just crazy, just I find that my friends, my clients that are neurodiverse, it's stuff you can laugh about later. Um, but it's like in the moment you're like, oh my god, how do I always get myself in these ridiculously strange, awkward scenarios? Because I missed a few red flags or a few cues along the way that like led me down this path, and here we are, and now I have to like unfuck myself. um and it's important to work through the difficult and upsetting feelings that are associated with stuff like that. But you know what, once you're through that phase, it's important to just laugh about things like that, because like what else are you gonna do? It's it's life, and you're learning, and sometimes weird shit happens. So here's the takeaway: your difficulty with sarcasm, with jokes, it isn't a flaw. It's rooted in wiring, and it's something that you can work with. It's something that you can improve. The goal shouldn't be to fix how you interpret jokes. It's really just to understand your wiring better so that you can communicate better and learn to have more awareness in certain situations. So if you dare, drop it in the comments. Share your awkward or funny story of the time you missed the joke or misinterpreted the whole thing and got yourself in a pickle.